If you have caught part 1, you will have seen how the first 3 steps of our PIC method help real people walk away with $400,000, $700,000 or even over $1 million in profit. Now, I'm going to continue with the next 4 steps of our 7-step PIC method, which have helped hundreds of property owners, including ourselves, profit from our properties. So my husband Paul and I have spent the last 15 years helping homeowners and property buyers like yourselves make 6 to 7 digit profit from their property decisions. And in this video, I'm going to show you the step 4 to 7 of our 7-step PIC method. Before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you can help us by liking or sharing this video so that more property owners or buyers like yourselves can benefit from this video. Thank you! Now, step 4, pull factors. So we are looking at essentially what attracts buyers and tenants. A location can have several pull factors, and one very strong pull factor is actually schools. Being within 1 kilometer of popular schools are extremely important to many parents, and I've known of many families who actually move the entire family to a new location just to ensure that the kids get into their school of choice, including ourselves. I want to show you this chart of 2 developments within 1 kilometer and another development not within 1 kilometer of a popular school. So this is the PIC Residences, a 99-year leasehold property located within 1 kilometer of St. Andrew's Junior School, versus Park Heaven, a freehold property located just outside 1 kilometer of St. Andrew's. And as you can see from the chart itself, Park Heaven's growth in the last 10 years have grown by 15.17%, while the PIC have actually grown by 37.74%. And if you compare the profitability of the 2 projects itself, you will see that there are actually more profitable transactions in the PIC as compared to Park Heaven. Yes, I know that the 2 properties are very different in sizes, so there will definitely be more profitable transactions in the PIC. However, if you compare the unprofitable transactions, you will notice that Park Heaven has 15, while the PIC has 0 in the last 10 years. And by right, Park Heaven is a freehold property. Shouldn't it be able to hold the value better? The second pull factor of a location is its unique lifestyle offering. So what makes a location stand out? It's its unique lifestyle offering. For example, water living lifestyle, a waterfront lifestyle, river lifestyle, something that this location have but others don't. Many property analysts and reports have also stated that waterfront condos are one of the most highly sought after due to its position and scarcity. So naturally, a lot of condominiums along the waterfront have actually been very profitable over the years. And it's also one of the many reasons why properties along places such as East Coast Park and Robertson Quay are doing extremely well. Then again, some of you may say, why are the properties in Sentosa Cove not doing so well? It's also waterfronting. Well, like I mentioned, it is a 7-step PIC system. So we need to make sure that we check as many as possible. As for Sentosa Cove, there may be several reasons. For example, not the right entry price, and maybe it did not fit several factors. And also the fact that it's mainly foreigners who are staying there and not local. So the demand will be actually very different. Now let's take a look at the case study. Let's meet my friend here, Jonathan and E. So Jonathan and E, very nice couple in their 40s. And when they approached Paul and myself a couple of years back, they wanted to buy a property along the East Coast area, and we ended up choosing Seaside Residences. And one of the main selling points of Seaside Residences is actually the sea view. And this is exactly what they fell in love with, and exactly the reason why they wanted to buy in the first place. And even though they are still staying there, right now they don't have any intention to sell at this point of time, but their neighbors have been cashing out huge profits over there. Let's take a look at the chart here. We have $600,000, $700,000, even up to $1.29 million. Wow, just imagine you are able to profit up to $1.29 million by holding your property for about 6 to 7 years. Isn't that amazing? Step 5. Connectivity, accessibility, and amenities. If you are near any eateries, restaurants, shopping malls, supermarkets, bus interchanges, or MRT station. When it comes to amenities and these places around us, the more the merrier. Because why? When we have more of such amenities, your property becomes a lot more appealing to potential buyers and potential tenants. What we don't want is to find a property that is in like a very ulu area, you're not accessible anywhere, your nearest supermarket is like 15-minute drive away, your nearest coffee shop or your nearest cafe, it's like 20-25 minutes walk away. That is something that we do not want. Also, do you know that a property near an MRT station actually commands a higher price of between 10 to 15% as compared to one that is not near an MRT station? Let's take a look at the example of May Spring Condo, which we have mentioned in our point 3 of our 7-step PIC system. So with the launch of the downtown line at Bukit Panjang station, and of course Hillion Mall, May Spring Condo, which is the condo right in front of Hillion Australia Mall itself actually saw a price jump of 53% more within the last 10 years. That means that your 1 million condo back then is now 1.5 million. Your 2 million condo back then is now $3 million. That is a classic example of how these amenities can actually increase the profitability and increase your property price. Here's another example of Caspian versus Lake Homes. As you know, Caspian is actually within 5-minute walking distance to the MRT, whereas Lake Homes is just next to it, but it's not as near. So just a few minutes extra, you can see that the growth in this chart, you can easily see that the growth of Caspian is definitely better than Lake Homes, even though they both started at around the same price range. So one is doing significantly better than the other. I hope you have been learning something so far. If you feel that you have, I will greatly appreciate if you can help us by liking or sharing this video. It will mean a lot to us. Thank you. Step 6, development review. Have you actually ever wondered why some condos do better than their neighbors, even though they are actually in the same location and they enjoy the same amenities and even accessibility? Well, not all condos are equal, even though they might be at the same location. Well, there are a few reasons, and one of it is actually property size. There is a significant difference between choosing a bigger development as compared to a smaller development. What we are suggesting is not to buy too small a development, especially those boutique ones with less than 100 units. Why? The thing is, transaction supports price growth. The more transactions there are, the more growth in your property price. Let's take this for example. Imagine your neighbor now sells their property for $1 million and then you want to sell. Obviously, you will want to sell higher than them. Maybe you will want to sell at 1.1, for example. After you sell yours, the next neighbor will want to sell it higher than yours, maybe 1.15 or 1.2. So as you can see, when there are more transactions, the prices actually inches up slowly with each transaction. So when you have a very small development, you will have a lot lesser transactions as compared to a bigger development, because there are lesser transactions to push up the prices. Our advice though is not to buy way too big as well, unless you are entering at a fantastic entry price, or if you have fulfilled majority of the checklist. Remember, I mentioned before, this is a 7 step, or maybe you feel that, oh, it has actually fulfilled 5 or 6 steps and this is a great property, then yes, then you may wish to enter. Why do we advise against it? Because we feel that when selling it off, you may face a big challenge, because when there are too many units up for sale, there may be very fierce, intense competition. For example, if you take a look at the current Property Guru listing now for Normanton Park, there are currently over 500 units for sale. It will definitely be a challenge for the sellers, as the buyers there have plenty of choices and hence have the higher bargaining power. I'm not saying that you won't make money, but what I'm saying is, because the buyers have a higher bargaining power, you may not make as much money. Next is facilities. Facilities do matter when it comes to development comparison. Full usable facilities such as swimming pool, gym, tennis court, basketball courts, function rooms, barbecue pits, for example, are very important. And what we want is, again, the more the merrier. Another reason why a smaller development may not be able to match, because when a development is much smaller, most of the time generally they have way lesser facilities as compared to a bigger development. For example, a bigger development may have 2 huge pools with kids pool, jacuzzi and things like that, or a tennis court, or whereas a smaller boutique development may just have a swimming pool, a small gym, and they may or may not even have a function room. They may have like a playground or barbecue pit, but definitely not a tennis court for sure. Next is bedroom mix. So what is a bedroom mix? Basically, a bedroom mix means a number of different types of bedroom mix in a development itself. If there are more 1-bedder, 2-bedders or 3-bedders. In an ideal scenario, we will want to look for a development with bigger size bedroom mix, which is the 3 and the 4 bedrooms. Why? Because the 3 and the 4 bedrooms appeal to families, and families are actually the biggest demographics of home buyers in Singapore. Of course, there are also singles and young couples and investors who are actually looking, to buy homes. But if you compare the demographic itself, that is actually a smaller share of the pie, whereas the bigger share of the pie are actually families. So when a development has more of big units, their facilities show. For example, if let's say a development has a lot of 3 and 4-bedder, you will know that it's more of a family-oriented development, and the facilities will definitely have things like kids swimming pool, children's playground. They may have more barbecue pits, they may have more function rooms. Whereas the smaller bedroom unit types, such as the studio, the 1 or the 2-bedder, they will attract more investors and singles, which I mentioned earlier forms the minority of home buyers, especially in the RCR and the OCR area. The thing now is, when you buy a property, you want to be able to sell well and high in the future. So right now, this is the reason why we have this checklist as well. So when you fulfill all these checklists, your property becomes very appealing and very attractive, appeals to a big group of buyers, and it's very attractive to potential buyers, and this is how you can actually get a higher price or a better profit. So in this case, if you want to be able to sell well and high, you must have a bigger pool of buyers. And this is the reason why, we want to go into a development with bigger unit size. Let's take a look at an example here of OUE Twin Peaks. If you take a look at this chart here, you will see that there are actually 61 unprofitable transactions. I'm not saying that this is the only reason. One of the key reasons is that OUE Twin Peaks, the bedroom mix is almost 60% one bedder only. That means that the development itself appeals more to singles, expats, or investors instead of families. Of course, they also have the bigger size units, but that's actually a smaller portion of the entire development. And like I said, there may be several reasons involved as well as to why it's not doing well. One of it could be because the developer, they actually attracted more investor buyers because they launched out this delayed payment scheme when they launched OUE Twin Peaks back then. That could also be one of the reasons why it wasn't doing so well. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all the developments with this kind of smaller bedroom mix won't do well, but I would definitely be more cautious about it. Ultimately, like I said, the checklist is supposed to help you make more profit from your property. Step 7, unit layout. Not all units in the same condo are the same. This is the reason why sometimes you will see in the same development itself, there is one unit that lose a lot of money and there is another unit that make a lot of money, and they are all within the same condominium itself. And how is it that these units in this development can make profit while other units in the same development lose so much more? One thing, it all boils down to unit layout. What are some of the things that you want to avoid when it comes to unit layout? For example, you want to avoid odd-shaped living rooms or rooms, a living space and room. For example, those rounded ones or those weird triangle-sized bedrooms. I'm not too sure if you've seen before. Or some units I've seen before, they have a pillar right in the middle of the master bedroom. I have no idea what that's for. Obviously, these are things that buyers don't like. So obviously, if you buy into something like that, you may face a challenge selling it off in the future, let alone getting a good price for it. The other thing you want to avoid is wasted space, such as, for example, very long corridors or too large balconies. Balconies are nice. A lot of them, you can use it, you can actually seal it off with a zip track, you can convert it into dining area, a cozy play area, or outdoor yoga corner or things like that. What I'm talking about is extremely large balconies. For example, I've seen balconies, they are actually bigger than the living room itself. So basically, you might as well just shift your whole living room outdoors instead. And if the property is not harmonized yet, there are things that you need to take note of. For example, voids, huge aircon ledges, and bay windows. All these eat into your unit size, and yet they are not usable. You're paying for space that you cannot use. On the other hand, things that you want to have is squarish rooms and your living hall. People like, the 四四方方, the Chinese way, the 正正方方, right? You also want to look out for efficient layout. For example, a dumbbell layout. What's a dumbbell layout? Basically, they have the living room and they have bedrooms on both the right and the left side, making it, a lot more efficient and more usable as compared to those with long balconies, long corridors. And ideally, choose a landscape layout. So what's the landscape layout? Landscape layout is where your living and your dining area are next to each other horizontally along the window, because this will make the unit itself appear much brighter and wider. Next, another reason why different units can have such a different profit and loss disparity is the level of facing and view. Take for example, if there are two units on sale at the same time. One has a beautiful greenery unblocked view or sea view, and the other faces the car park, the main road, the bin center, or the security guard post. Which unit will you most likely buy? And which unit will the buyer most likely pay more for? I think you've got your answer. And always remember that the higher floors are usually more popular as compared to the lower floor because of maybe noise or because of the view. Definitely higher floors and the better views come at a higher price tag. But at the end of the day, this higher price tag may actually gain you a premium when you're selling it off. Let me just recap the 7-step PIC method for you. Number 1, entry price. Buying at the right price and within the base limit and not at future prices so that you can profit from your property. Number 2, rentability. Buying in areas with tenant catchment area and in areas with lower supply. The more popular your development, the better is your profit. Number 3, future transformation. Checking checking out what's upcoming in the URA master plan. Even simple transformations such as an MRT station or a shopping mall can make a huge impact in your profit. Next, pull factors, ensuring your unit is preferably within 1 kilometer to popular schools and preferably with a unique lifestyle offering, something that you have that others don't. It could be a waterfront living lifestyle, it could be a river lifestyle, for example, or even a park. Next, connectivity, accessibility, and amenities. Choose location with plenty of amenities such as eateries, supermarkets, mall, train station, bus station, etc., etc. People want to buy development that are convenient and with lots of facilities and amenities around them. Number 6, development review. Choose a good size development, not a boutique one, and preferably not too big unless, like I mentioned, you fulfill the rest of the checklist criteria. And lastly, number 7, unit layout. Keep a lookout for wasted unusable space and keep in mind to choose a better level or a better view if possible. At the end of the day, do remember that this is a full 7-step PIC checklist. You may or may not be able to check out all 7, but to increase your chance of profitability, you may want to be able to check out as many as possible. Okay, let me share with you this case study of one of our clients, Mr. J. So Mr. J and his family, they were looking at upgrading from their existing condo in the OCR area to a 4-bedroom nearer to town. So after going through this 7-step PIC checklist with them, we eventually shortlisted the Stirling Residences. Let's take a look at how we actually shortlisted the property for them. First, if you refer to the base limit chart in 2020, the average price for RCR is between 1,008 to 2,004 PSF. Mr. J and his family entered at around 1,008 plus PSF, which is well within the base limit, making it a very safe entry price for them. Next, we took a look at the location where Stirling Residences is located. There is a high demand and rentability in the surrounding developments. It is within 6-minute walk to the train station, and which is just a few stations away from CBD. The area is also surrounded by plenty of amenities, eateries, supermarket, shopping mall. There are also 2 primary schools within 1 kilometer, but if I were to really pick on something from this development, I would feel that it would be an icing on the cake if the schools were the more popular or the more highly contested ones. That will actually increase the profitability even more. This development is of a larger scale. It is at 1,259 units. However, like I mentioned earlier, if it were to fulfill the majority of the checklist, this will still work. And precisely because of the size, Stirling Residences has great facilities. For example, the different various swimming pools, barbecue pavilions, function rooms, tennis courts, and even the concierge services. And if you take a look at this floor plan of theirs, you will see that the unit fits what we are looking for. It is a landscape layout where the unit will enjoy brightness, airiness, and it will appear wider and more spacious. There's also a bedroom on the other side of the living room, maximizing space and reducing long corridors. At the same time, this unit that they have chosen is located on a high floor with unblocked panoramic city views. So as you can see, this particular unit and development that they have chosen fulfills a lot of our 7-step PIC checklist. And the end result, this is a bank valuation that I've gotten from UOB just recently, and as you can see, they are currently sitting on a profit of almost $1 million in just 4 years. Wow, I don't know about you, but I think these are fantastic results. Well, Mr. J is not the only client of ours who achieved great results from our 7-step PIC system. If you'd like to achieve the same result, or for us to personally help you evaluate your current or future property, do feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. For those of you who still wishes to learn more about our 7-step PIC method, we invite you to join us at our next webinar, where we will share with you even more in-depth details. In the webinar, we will go into different case studies showing you how we make use of these 7 specific steps to help one of our clients make over $1 million in a short 4 years. Send us a text or a DM and we will reach out to you to register for our next session. Thank you so much for joining us today. And before you leave, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more videos like this. See you next time. Bye bye.